Oh yeah, time for the DC 100-page comic giant Swamp Thing. Why am I reviewing this one instead of one of the other ones that came out that I still haven't reviewed? Because this is the one I just got. It took me weeks of looking around at 3 different Walmarts. It's ridiculous. And finally, I had to go to an entirely different town to get this stupid book. And it better be worth it. If it ain't worth it, well, we don't need to go down that path. We absolutely don't. So Swamp Thing, 100-page giant number 2. I definitely liked it more than number 1. The story at the start, the new story, is a much better story than what was in the original issue. It's actually kind of interesting. We start off basically like with the horror movie setup. 2 teenagers, they're going hiking. One of them tells a ghost story about Swamp Thing, and they get attacked. Then Swamp Thing and the crazy lady end up running into the same creature because they're looking for the missing teenagers. Oh, so we get a great little action sequence. It's pretty good. What a sound effect. Ah! Lily pollen, known to cause nausea, burning mucous membranes, and temporary paralysis. Now I have marked you, Miss Ravenmocker. Wherever you run, I will find you. Oh, it's good stuff. This was pretty good. There's not a lot to it, but it was pretty good. The Animal Man story, if you remember Animal Man from New 52, it's the second issue of that. I kind of don't remember what happens like from this point on, so I must not have continued reading the story. But as I read through, this was pretty good, but it just felt like an echo of a much better story. Which is a weird kind of place to be. That's what it was, though. It's an echo of something that was much better. So the little girl is animated like lots of zombies, and they're like trying to figure out what's going on, why he's got all those marks on him, has an argument with the wife. Meanwhile, something's coming into the world, and it's making all these terrifying, gross... This dude's face says it all. Sadly, that's how I feel about the art style in here, is exactly what he's doing. But the book is meant to be kind of surrealistic, so the art makes sense for its purpose. This really doesn't look very good like this. This look much better with a staple down the middle so you could actually see all of Buddy's face there. That's his name, right? Buddy Baker? Oh god, did I just forget Animal Man's name? I think I did. That shows you how much I care about Animal Man. Oh, she yells Buddy. Okay, so that must have been his name. Great. It's a weird story. The Swamp Thing story is also a weird story. And again, it feels like an echo. This is a Swamp Thing from New 52, I do believe. Let's look at the credit, or not the credits, this thing. Swamp Thing number 2 from 2011. Yeah, so this is from New 52. I don't really remember this issue. I must have stopped reading it. And the best part is probably this panel right here where this lady's neck is turned all the way around. Anyway, this also feels like an echo of a much better story. Frankly, DC should probably have not picked these characters back up because they've already had their best stories told by somebody, in the late 80s, early 90s. You're doing the characters a disservice by continuing them. Everybody's trying to kill Mr. Holland, and then, oh look, she rescues him, and then she's going to shoot him in the face. Great. I didn't think too much of this story, if I'm honest. I really didn't. The Shadow Pact story, on the other hand, this was a lot of fun. There's lots of action, lots of fighting, and the heroes just end up in an ever-increasingly bad place. But there's lots of cool action. There's some... Oh, hold on. There's one piece of the art. Yeah, this panel right here. This has no sense of motion, no sense of kineticism. It's flat and boring. What would have been a whole lot more interesting is if this next panel had been this panel, same angle, same panel, and then him jumping off the roof, foot still in contact with it so you can see him leaping off a little bit. Maybe you zoom in and you just draw this part of it or something. That would have been a lot better. This panel looks boring and flat and static. And things are just bad. The bad guys are getting ready to start all of their evil, crazy summon magics to bring this dude back. And they're putting the heroes on ice. And they go to kidnap, some of the people. This old dude's like, take me, and they're like, no, we need the girl. Great. And we end on such a terrible note of Detective Chimp about to get tortured by this dude. The Shadow Pact story is definitely the best thing in this book. So for me, that's pretty good because I've never read it. And I also got that pretty interesting new Swamp Thing story. It's much better in this issue than the last one. This is still one of the weaker DC 100-page giant books, I think. I got to read Flash number 2. But based on Flash number 1, it's probably the weakest. I guess when you're number 5 out of 6, that's pretty bad for you. It's a shame to see the quality of these DC 100-page giants drop so much, which is what I feel like this one did. I'll see you all next time. Check it out if you can find it. I had to go all the way to Staunton. So I checked the two Walmart supercenters in my town that actually carry these books. None. One is stocked with a ton of issue number 8. Then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm over on this other end of town. I'm going to go to Sun Prairie and their Walmart. They had a Superman number 2 with a torn cover. I would have got that if it had a torn cover. And they had like a Titan number 2, and that was it. And finally I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go to Staunton. So 30-minute drive the other way, go to Staunton, I think it's pronounced Stoughton. I think that's how they pronounce it up here. But if I look at the spelling, it looks like Staunton to me. Anyway, go there. That Walmart had like 1 or 2 issues of all the current books, except that I don't think they had a Titan number 2. But they had everything else. So I got the Swamp Thing number 2 there. I was so happy. Because I wanted the rest of this Shadow Pact story. That's what this story is doing to me. This is pretty good. The art may not be pretty good. There's a lot of stuff that looks kind of cheap in the art. The posing, the backgrounds, they go with these like red sky things all the time with this simple, cheap gradient. Doesn't look that great, but it's a pretty good read. I'll see you next time. You have a great day. That's how I feel about this 100-page giant. I'll see you next time, and bye-bye.